Chapter 15. Theosophy. That the belief in reincarnation on Earth is a fallacious one, and prevents progression to higher spiritual realms after transition, has been frequently declared by advanced spirits, while numerous cases of obsession which have come under our care have been due to spirits who, in endeavoring to reincarnate in children, have found themselves imprisoned in the magnetic aura, causing great suffering to both their victims and themselves. A little boy in Chicago, Jack T., had been normal until the age of 5, when he began to manifest precocious tendencies and acted strangely. Formerly, he had had the natural disposition of a child, but began to fret about things ordinarily foreign to a child's mind, and acted in many ways like an adult. He worried over trifles, lay awake at night with strange mutterings and presentiments, never heard that word, and at times had an uncontrollable temper. He was a boy of good appearance, but talked constantly of being old, homely, and ugly-looking, and was so intractable that efforts at reprimand and correction proved of no avail. His condition became so aggravated that his family despaired of restoring the boy's reason. A relative who knew of our experimental work in abnormal psychology wrote to the Institute, requesting us to concentrate for the boy. This was done, and an entity whose actions and expressions were in every way like those of the boy was attracted to the psychic, Mrs. Wickland. This entity said his name was Charlie Herman. He was aware of having died, and declared he was a very homely man, with ugly features and a face covered with pockmarks. Nobody had cared for him, and this fact preyed on his mind. Someone had once told him that after death individuals could reincarnate and become whatever they wished to be. Since his only desire was to be good-looking, so that others would not shun him, he decided to try and reincarnate. As a result, he became entangled in the magnetic aura of a small boy and was unable to free himself. Finding that he was helplessly imprisoned and incapable of making himself understood, he had outbursts of temper and, quote, felt like flying to pieces. They called me Jack at times, but I am not Jack. That was not my name, and I could not understand. Our concentration for the boy had freed the spirit, and for this he was very grateful. After instructions were given regarding spiritual progression, and he had been assured that he need no longer be homely if he would discard old ideas from his mind, forget self, and strive to help others, he expressed great eagerness to go with the spirits who, he stated, had come to help him. In a letter written a few days later by the boy's mother, we were informed that a remarkable change had occurred in the child. Jack is now a boy again, has been very good this week. Really, like he used to be. He remained normal and received excellent grades in school, where his progress from that time on was unusually rapid. At one time, we concentrated for a crippled child in Hollywood with interesting results. Experience November 19th, 1916. Spirit William Stanley, psychic Mrs. Wickland. Spirit, is it really true that I am well now? Can I talk? Can I move my arms and feet? Then reincarnation is true, because before I could neither talk nor walk. How did I get out of the child? Doctor, intelligent spirits brought you here for help. Spirit, I wanted to come back and reincarnate in a child, and I got in and could not get out. I was so paralyzed that I could not express myself, and I was in an awful state. I was a Theosophist, and I wanted to reincarnate to be great. I got into a child's body and crippled it, and also crippled my mind and that of the child. I stayed in the child because I did not know how to get out. I acted as a child, and I could not talk. I know I passed out of my mortal body some years ago, far away in India, but I do not realize when it took place. I wanted so much to reincarnate and to come back to this earth life to live my other karma. Do not hold on to the thought of coming back, but look for something higher, for the state I was in was the worst torture anybody could have. I lived in Calcutta and wanted to learn to be a master and go through my karma, but instead I am as you see me to be. I reincarnated in a child and became crippled, and I also got into the vibration of the mother. It was very hard, and I want to warn others never to come back and try to reincarnate through a little child. Leave reincarnation alone, because it is only a mistake. But the philosophy of Theosophy is very fine. Look upward. Don't think of the astral shells, for they are of no use. I was very selfish and wanted to come back to earth life just to be something great, but instead I got into a very low state. I had intended to show the Theosophists that I could come back and reincarnate in a child. Madame Blavatsky should have taught differently, pointing to an invisible. I will tell you, madam, you are the one who is to blame for the condition I am in today. Madame Blavatsky stands here trying to help me now. She is the one who gave me the teachings and thoughts of reincarnation, and now she is trying to show me the right way, and states there is no such thing as reincarnation. One gets all mixed up trying to enter another's body for reincarnation. Doctor, what is your name? Spirit, I cannot recall my name just now. Madame Blavatsky was in India and taught Theosophy. She had many followers, and I was with her. I also have met Anna Kingsford and Dr. Hartman, and he also once was to blame for my condition. They pushed me in here that I might be taught and freed. I am so pleased that I can talk again. That is something I have not been able to do for years. Madame Blavatsky, Anna Kingsford, and the judge were all great lights, and now they have found out their big mistakes. They are all working to get their victims free, so they brought me to this place for instruction and guidance. I was in India, having been there for many years. My father was an officer in the army. I spent most of my time in Calcutta, where I met all the great lights of Theosophy, and I joined the Theosophical Society. I liked Colonel Alcott. He was a great fellow. I remember being very sick in India for some time. I have no desire to reincarnate again because reincarnation is a wrong doctrine. It creates a selfishness to come back. I suppose one can learn without being reincarnated. What did I learn in my last reincarnation in the child? What did I learn? I believed in Theosophy and my karma, and I thought I had to go through with it. Colonel Alcott belonged to the great masters. He belonged to the spirit of fire and water. I mean the elementals of fire and water. Doctor, have you ever heard of mediums? Spirit, they are the only astral shells. Madame Blavatsky says we must all help. They are only astral shells. Madame Blavatsky says we must all help those who try to reincarnate. She and the others have come to say they are trying to help, and for that purpose have formed a big society. I thought I had come to life when I came here, and that I could reincarnate and talk to them as I did in life. I did not know they had passed over. Teaching as they did, why did they not reincarnate the same as I? Madame Blavatsky was a great missionary, as you know. She says she is now trying to make all her victims understand about her life after this. After she says she is now trying to make all her victims understand about the life after this as it really is. She says that she was a medium at one time, but that she did not want anybody to control her. She thought that you should develop your own self and mental faculties and go through your karma. I should not have been taught the falseness I was. Madam tells me that I should listen to this gentleman, Dr. W., and that he will explain things. Explanations were given regarding life on the earth plane, the preparation for the life that is to follow, and the fact that the knowledge and wisdom gained here will be the light of understanding each one carries to the other side of life. The spirit finally gave the name of William Stanley and departed, grateful for the enlightenment he had received. J.A., a listless, crippled boy of 7 years, with an adult manner of speech, was a patient from Chicago who suffered from convulsions and a slow, hesitant stammering that was notional about his food and subject to violent attacks of temper. Through concentration, a spirit was dislodged from him, a superficial theosophist who was peculiarly self-hypnotized. Experience April 28, 1920. Spirit Edward Jackson, patient J.A., psychic Mrs. Wickland. Doctor, have you been here before? Spirit very slowly. Myself do not know. Doctor, how old are you? Spirit drawling. Me do not know. Doctor, from where did you come? Spirit, where they shot fire at me. Static treatment given to patient. Doctor, how old are you? Spirit, myself do not know. Doctor, don't you understand that you have lost your physical body and are a spirit? Listen to intelligent spirits who will help you. Spirit, me does not know anything about spirits. Doctor, don't you want to know something about them? Where did you expect to go after death? Spirit, me does not know. Doctor, would you like to know anything? Spirit, that takes care of itself. Doctor, if you had been more concerned about the facts of life, you would not be in this condition. You would be in the spirit world. Do you know anything about the spirit world? Spirit, no. Doctor, would you care to know? Spirit, I do not know. Doctor, you must want to know. You have lost your mortal body and do not understand it. Spirit, I don't care. Doctor, you will have to care. Are you happy in your present condition? Spirit, no. Doctor, were you sick? Spirit, I was. Doctor, what was the matter with you? Spirit, crippled. Doctor, where did you live? Spirit, I don't know. It was a long time since I was born. Doctor, were you a man or a woman? Spirit, I suppose I am a man. Doctor, were you married? Spirit, no. Doctor, why? Spirit, no one likes a cripple, and I stuttered. and stuttered a great deal. I also studied. Doctor, what did you study? Spirit, all kinds of books that came my way. Doctor, on religion. Spirit, why yes. Doctor, were you orthodox? Spirit, no, thank God. Doctor, did you have any fixed opinions at all? Spirit, once for a time I studied. Then I was shut up in one place one time and another place another time. It is the fourth time I have been reincarnated, obsessed, sensitive. Twice I got in a cripple. Doctor, were you a cripple in the first place? Spirit, I do not remember anything about it. People told me to remember about my lives, but I do not. I know I was once a cripple, and then I got into somebody and I was more crippled, but I got out. I do not know how I got out. I feel stronger now than I have before. I thought when I got reincarnated I should be a nice young man, but instead I got crippled because I suppose my mind was crippled. Doctor, what did they call you when you were a cripple? Spirit, I had so many names, but you know, I liked the last time. I liked it very much to be a rich man's son, so I did not need to work. I had a father to work for me. I had a good time. Doctor, did you become a rich man's son? Spirit, in a way, yes, and in another way, no. Doctor, what is your name? Spirit, my name was, once upon a time, I do not know. Some time ago, when I was studying Theosophy, I was a cripple born. Some friends brought some books to me about Madame Blavatsky. They called me Edward Jackson. Doctor, what other names did you have? Spirit, the other was Jay. Doctor, was Jay a grown man or a boy? Spirit, I do not like that fire shooting and someone talking all kinds of things. Why cannot I reincarnate and not be a cripple all the time? Doctor, I suppose when you found yourself in a rich man's family and thought of reincarnation, you believed you were experiencing your former condition again. Spirit, it is karma to develop one's highest self, so the Theosophists say. They chased me out, so I tried again because I wanted to know if that theory is true or not. Doctor, it is very true in one way. Earthbound spirits can control mortal sensitives. That is very true. Spirit, they must live out their karma, which has been put out for them. It is the only way. Doctor, where did you come from? Spirit, Chicago. I was going to be a rich man's son, but I was turned out. Doctor, did you like that? Spirit, I was fighting, and when I get mad, I do not care what I say. And I get mad once in a while. Sometimes I get so mad because I shall be a cripple all my life. When I reincarnated, I got into the same cripple state again. Doctor, don't you think you had better stop trying to reincarnate? Spirit, I must live out my karma and must not interfere with it. Doctor, then you must continue suffering because of your foolishness. Spirit, I was trying to get to Devachan. I was not well educated, but I read up on Devachan, which is the resting place where they reincarnate again. Doctor, you came back too soon. Spirit, Theosophy appealed to my mind, and then I wanted to have a good time. You must not interfere with your karma. You can choose your life, and I was going to have plenty of money, but I got crippled again. But my mind was good. They said you should not think of your former life. Doctor, who told you that? Spirit, they said you should progress and not interfere with your karma. Then you would get to Devachan. I suppose I must be an astral shell. I did not study enough. Doctor, would you like to use a little discrimination and progress in the right way into the spirit life? In the right way to the spirit life. Spirit, I want to go to Devachan. That is the best place for me. Then you can be a master. Doctor, you should become a master of your own destiny. Spirit, I want to be a great master. Then I would not be a cripple and would have lived out my karma. Doctor, how were you crippled? Spirit, in my legs. Doctor, could you not walk? Spirit, no, my knees were too weak and my ankles were weak. I am crippled all over now. Doctor, could you think and talk? Spirit, yes. Doctor, do you like cornmeal mush? And a special aversion to this patient. Spirit, I do not know what you mean. Doctor, are you particular about eating? Spirit, I will not eat meat and not much fish. I like to have some raw vegetables. I want my food more sun-kissed. I want to go to Devachan and be a master. Doctor, master of what? Spirit, master of higher things. I want to be a master. Doctor, Madame Blavatsky denies reincarnation now and says it is folly. Spirit, she doesn't know what she is talking about. Doctor, do you want to be perfectly well again? Spirit, then I have to reincarnate again. Doctor, now wake up and be sensible. Understand you are a spirit. You are now controlling the body of my wife. Spirit, I did not reincarnate in another person's body. I thought next time I would reincarnate differently. You say I am a woman now. I do not want to be a girl. I want to be a man. Doctor, you are using a woman's body just now. Spirit, I have to be born again, even if I am crippled. Doctor, don't be so foolish. Realize you are no longer crippled. Spirit, how can you tell anyone not to be a cripple when they are? Doctor, you are now a free spirit temporarily controlling a woman's body. Spirit, I do not understand what you are talking about. Doctor, your devachan does not work at all. You did not study thoroughly. Spirit, yes, I did, but I disregarded it. Doctor, do not talk such nonsense. It makes nice earthbound spirits. Spirit, we have to reincarnate to learn and get all kinds of experiences. Doctor, I suppose you could not progress to devachan if you did not have all the different experiences? Spirit, you have to come back and learn them. Doctor, do you know what you have been doing? You have been controlling different persons and disturbing their lives. An ignorant spirit often ruins the life of a mortal sensitive by clinging to him. You have been brought here for help and are now controlling my wife's body. Spirit, I have to reincarnate in your wife? No, I must reincarnate in a child and be born again. Doctor, this is not your body. It belongs to my wife and you are using it temporarily. Spirit, then I have to reincarnate in your wife. Doctor, you are controlling her body for a short time only. Look at this hand. Do you know it? Spirit, I have reincarnated again in your wife's body. No, you must reincarnate again in a child and be born again. Doctor, you do not know what you are talking about. If you understood the truth, you would not talk as you do. You are an earthbound spirit making cripples of children. Spirit, that is my karma. I have to so live until I get to Jevachan. Doctor, you live so only because of your ignorance. Spirit, when you have a chance to reincarnate, why should you not do it? Doctor, when you have a chance to take possession of the body of another and ruin his life, is it right to do so? Spirit, I would just as soon be that spirit in that body. Doctor, the asylums are full of people who are controlled by earthbound spirits like you. You have been ruining the lives of children. Evidently you have come from a boy we know. When we applied static sparks to the boy, we got you out. Now you are allowed to control my wife's body temporarily, and we are trying to make you understand your condition. Spirit, that has nothing to do with my karma. Doctor, you have lost your physical body a long time ago. Do you realize that you are controlling my wife's body? Spirit, it is my karma. I don't care. Doctor, you have been bothering a little boy, and you should now listen to what is being told you. Spirit, I know the only truth is reincarnation. I have reincarnated, and I will again. Doctor, you will have to leave at once if you cannot be sensible. Spirit, you cannot frighten me out. I am reincarnated. Doctor, where is your mother? Spirit, she is in Devachan. She is ready to reincarnate again. Doctor, you will soon see spirits who will show you something different. Spirit, they are only astral shells. Doctor, they will put you in a dark dungeon. You do not know the ABC of Theosophy. You do not want to know. Spirit, you cannot stop my talking if I want to talk. I am reincarnated again. I am going to live out this karma. If I am a woman now, I will live it out. If I get killed, that is part of my karma. I will just have to study and get in the inner circle and know that God is my creator. I have reincarnated and I will reincarnate again and then go to Devachan and be happy. I will finish my karma. Doctor, you get out and take your karma with you. Spirit, you think you are going to take away what is my karma, but you will not. I am happy and I am going. Smiling beatifically, the spirit departed. Several extracts are given from remarks made in our circle at various times by the spirit of Ralph S., the son-in-law of a lady who attended our circle. He and his wife in former years had been deeply interested in Theosophy, and when he reached the spirit world, he had found it difficult to free himself from preconceived ideas. Experience March 17th, 1920. Spirit Ralph S., Psychic Mrs. Wicklund. Spirit, I have been here before and I was so anxious to come again. Doctor, who are you, friend? Spirit, don't you know who I am? I am Ralph S. I studied a great deal about Theosophy and the law of developing myself regarding the higher things, but forgot to study the truth. My wife and I studied to develop ourselves, aiming for the highest, but we forgot to learn the simple lesson of life everlasting. How little we know of the world beyond. How I do wish we had both understood more of this, more of life. There is so much dogma. Now I have so much to unlearn, so much to overcome. Doctor, love is the fulfillment of the law. Spirit, yes, we have to serve. Questioner, are you happy? Spirit, in one way, yes, but not in another. If only the door were not closed. Questioner, which door? Spirit, the door of communication. My wife would be afraid if I tried to manifest myself to her. It hurts me. We studied and studied so much, and it was very hard to find that when I reached the spirit side of life, I knew so little and was in darkness. I am pleased to know, Mother, that you are not ashamed to stand for the truth. Give it to the others as much as you can, for it will help you in return. Experience, April 14th, 1920. Spirit Ralph S., Psychic Mrs. Wickland. Here I am again. This is Ralph, Mother. I want to come to my wife, but cannot, as the door is shut. I know it as much as my fault as it is my wife's. The door is shut from me and will be for some time because of the dogma and creed there is in the mind. If only my wife would realize the truth. It is so simple, but the simple truth is always rejected. Something mysterious is always accepted. We thought by working out our karma, everything would be all right. But we also develop selfishness. It is selfish to shut yourself up and try to be a master. Master of what? We should try to master ourselves, try to learn about all things, look up to all things because God is in all things and is love and wisdom. We should not feel that because of a little learning we are better than others merely because we study to be great masters. We speak of things of which we do not realize the full import, and we make ourselves sensitive and become obsessed. I realize now how dangerous the doctrine of reincarnation is. According to that doctrine, this would be the time for me to reincarnate. Should I reincarnate and obsess a child and tie both of us up in one body until such a time as the child leaves the mortal body? Why should I reincarnate, quote unquote, and make a child become an idiot? All creeds should be set aside, and we should seek the simple truth of life. Love God above all things and love your neighbor as yourself. There would be great rejoicing if everybody tried to live up to that teaching. Then there would be true happiness. Creeds and dogmas interfere and make us selfish, and selfishness is the root of all evil. I am to blame for the present conditions surrounding my wife, her refusal to receive spirit communications. My work now is to come down to earth and help the ones who believe in the same theory as I did and are engaged in the same study I was. I have to work hard trying to bring them to realize the truth. I must also work to bring my wife to the realization that she must not go into that dogma any further. If she does, she will become more psychic and will be obsessed by some theory or other. I do not mean obsessed by spirits, but ideas. I was more deeply steeped in the dogma of reincarnation than my wife because I was further advanced in my studies. I went into the subject deeper than she. We were both so selfish in our theory that we could not see anything else, and we condemned all other theories. We felt we were better than many others because we lived to sacrifice, having adhered to a restricted diet, a supposed requirement for spiritual attainment. The body is only a dress for the spirit. We should eat what comes before us. Let us not put our minds on eating and drinking. We should not sacrifice our bodies and crucify the flesh to become more spiritual. That was never meant to be. Take care of your body, but do not rob it of its needs. God gave it to you to take care of. Keep it in a healthy condition so the spirit can work through it to the best advantage. It does not make us spiritual to abstain from certain foods. We need specific elements for the body, so let us strive for our utmost to take care of it. My wife is hard to reach. We had agreed not to try to call each other back after death. We were hypnotized by our theosophical theory that we must go on and clear our karma, and that we cannot open the door to the higher life unless we go very slowly. This makes it much harder for me. I am to blame as much as she is. I shut the door for her as much as she shut the door for me. I condemned spiritualism because I thought the theory we held was the real one, and everything else was false. Of course, there is some deception in spiritualism, but there is good as well as bad in every movement. Let us not be carried away by anything. Let us use reason in all things. Experience, November 8th, 1922. Spirit, Ralph S. Psychic, Mrs. Wickland. It will soon be 3 years since I passed away, but in those 3 years I have learned a great deal. I did not find conditions as I had believed them. I am sorry that I was so set in my mind on the theory of Theosophy that we must come back again and again in order to reach the higher plane. Since I have come to the spirit side of life, I have not had any thought of coming back except to help my dear wife. We both studied to learn about life, but after I came here I tried to impress her that there was nothing more to learn about the religion we had both studied, because it is not the true religion. If I came back, I could not reincarnate as I thought. I would rather come back to help my wife and learn all I can about spirit return than to come and stay in one state for a certain time, then come back again as a baby. I had said to my wife that I would not come back to her because I wanted to go on and be a master. We think a master is one who is very highly developed and cannot do anything but be holy. You do not want to become such a master, quote unquote. The greatest masters serve. The more we learn in the spirit world, the more we want to serve. Here we want to help, to learn, to teach others. Christ is worshipped as a master. Did he come back? He went among the poor and lowly, trying to teach and serve people and to help them to a higher life and understanding. Learn the truth, give it to others, and serve others. Be a master in learning, but humble in serving. When we have learned to serve others, we have learned the lesson Christ taught. When we have reached that state, we can love our enemies as ourselves and God above all things. Then we are masters. That does not mean that we are so high that we cannot come back to serve, to teach, to help others. It means that we must all be masters of ourselves and conquer all desires. In a little talk given one evening by one whose writings were well known to many, reincarnation was also mentioned. Experience January 28, 1920. Spirit, Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Psychic, Mrs. Wickland. Good evening. I have not been here before, but I heard of you while I was on Earth, and I also heard of your work and had read your pamphlet. We should all try to understand the true meaning of God, but how few try to understand the actual truth. Truth is always crucified. Truth should be known, and not clothed with all sorts of creeds. When I was in earth life, I once was a bond servant with wrong ideas and foolish thoughts of truth, but toward the last, the simple truth and an understanding of the real life beyond were shown to me, and I accepted them. The truth had to come to me through sorrow. We do not seek for truth until we have had a deep sorrow, such as losing a dear husband or friend. Then the heart seeks after truth and will not let dogmas and creeds stand in the way. We are hungry to know about the life beyond and to learn if our dear ones and friends are with us to guide and help. I felt the loss of my dear husband so keenly that I was broken-hearted. I could not think that I would not be with him and near him again, but the light of truth and the understanding that there is no death came to me, and I felt him around me. This beautiful truth will come to everyone who earnestly seeks after it, and after finding it, we must stand for it in all honesty and sincerity, because if we do not, doubt will come in, and fear, and shut the door for our dear ones, who have only gone ahead to prepare our home everlasting. How we mortals are clothed with doubt, and when the truth of continued existence is presented to us, even then we doubt. The Bible is full of the beautiful truth which is revealed to us, but still, we all doubt. When I found the truth, I wanted to teach it to the world, but my physical body was not strong enough to do what I should have liked. I tried to tell it to the soldiers because I knew that to them the truth would be a godsend, because they were here today and tomorrow there. Should I not, when I had found the truth, give them the understanding that there is no death? They then felt that they could go right on and fight because they realized that death was not the end of life. It would only be the clothing, the body, which would be destroyed. How courageous and how happy they were when I said to them that there is no death, only a transition to a happier, more beautiful state, and I wished so much that I could give them more. I spent my life in dogmas, all my life trying to do good. I did good, but my thoughts were clothed with dogmas of different kinds. At last I found the truth. Oh, my dear Robert had to go to the open door before I could realize what was awaiting me. I did some good after I found the truth. Let us all do the same. People will scoff at you at times, but never mind, never mind. By so doing, you will become stronger, and you will find that it will help you to grow in understanding. I found the truth by a dangerous method. I had to struggle as well with that. The Ouija board is a dangerous thing, and I found it out. It greatly weakened me. Be very guarded in seeking for the truth, for it is a dangerous road. You must learn the way in order to have help and guidance. I had struggles with others because I went into the midst of earthbound spirits as well as the soldiers. If you could only realize the dreadful pressure around the soldiers, they wanted light on one side as well as on the other, spirits yet in ignorance of the higher life. It was too much pressure on my physical body, and I gave out. I could not stand it or the thoughts that were centered on me. I taught the truth to the soldiers on earth, but I did not realize how many I lectured to who had gone before. The strain was too great for me, so I came home, not weak in spirit, but in body. Still, I felt happy I was enabled to help. I found the world of spirits where I could be with my dear one whom I love the most. You wonder where the real life is. The real life is on the other side of the grave, as you call it. This life is only a temporary school, the school of learning to know ourselves and for what object we are here. People think that when they die they will see God, but how few realize what God means. God is the life of all things. How little people think of this earth plane and what it really is. It is only an infinitesimal part of the universe. Once I thought of reincarnation. I was at one time a theosophist. Theosophy is all right so far as it goes. The thoughts and teachings are beautiful, but why should we reincarnate on this little planet? I would not care to come back to the earth plane except to tell you of the higher and real life which lies before you. I would not like to come back to this earth plane again to be a little baby, and I do not see why I should. For what would I learn? Could souls like we come back into children again and feel satisfied? After you have learned the higher things of life, you do not care to come back to matter another time. You want to learn while here and gain sufficient knowledge so that when you pass on, you will not want to come back and learn it over. You can learn much about the other side of life while here, and when you pass over, there you will learn more and more of things which you could not learn while you were here because you could not understand them. Oh, the world of worlds! If you could only travel to the beautiful worlds beyond and see the grandeur there. We also have to serve, to bring others to the same harmony we enjoy. We cannot return and be babies again, but we step down to earth life to help our loved ones and friends. There was a time when I thought I had reincarnated, because when I should write, I felt that I had been here before, but I find that it was only spirits who sent the thoughts to my mind and gave me strength to write, and in that way I felt I had been here before. It was only another's mind reflecting on my mind. The work you are doing here is one I wish I had known about and could have helped with, because it is so much needed. So many need help and enlightenment. We cannot reach many from our side of life because they are bound servants to creeds and desires of different kinds which attract them to this earth plane. We must have stations like this where we can bring them and open their spiritual eyes that they may see. Then they will see us, and we can help them to a better understanding. Let us all try to concentrate for training schools where earthbound spirits can be brought for enlightenment. You may be surprised to think I came tonight. I have tried to come through the Ouija boards, and I have tried to come other ways, but here I can step in and talk as you talk. It is like talking through a telephone, and I feel strong. I feel now that I am amongst you really in body and in spirit. We must all unite and do all we can to further this work, because we want stations like this here, there, and everywhere. In time, you will have receivers which will record messages from our side of life. It will not be long before a message will come over this receiver from the other world that will awaken the people from their creeds. It will awaken the churches. Churches will be empty, but it will only be for a short time, because a new religion will spring up, a religion which will be founded on the truth of spirit return and not on dogma. People will live for others and will not grasp all for themselves. The churches will be for the people and not for creeds. People will pay money to the church, but it will be to further the work of the beautiful truth of the life beyond. There will not be any salvation, but you will learn to know that we are with you. There will be churches which will have open doors for the spirits as well as the mortals. I wanted to come to California to see your work while I was on Earth, as I had heard of you and was very much interested in your pamphlet and your work. I wrote a little about it, but I thought I could do more if I could see you in person. However, I went to the spirit life before I could meet you. Now I am here to see your work. If you could only realize what vast numbers, invisibles, there are outside the door who are waiting for a chance to come in and learn the truth of life, and how they are crowding each other for help. Now I cannot take more of your time, but I do thank you for letting me come. I am glad if I can be of some service to you in your work. Have courage. People refuse to recognize the fact of obsession because they think it hurts the cause. Spirit return. I believe I believed in it thoroughly because it is true, and I knew it. I am Ella Wheeler Wilcox. I wanted to come to give you encouragement in your work. Go on with the work of obsession because it is so much needed, and we will give you help from this side of life. Please understand I would have been here in your concentration circle before, but the door is crowded with people who are waiting for an opportunity to come. We have to come one by one. This evening I am very happy to say was my turn. This work is so much needed to help humanity. There is only one other that I know of who has such concentration circles where the medium allows earthbound spirits to control. There are very few indeed who allow earthbound spirits to come in and control. For my part, I know only one other, and I have been hunting for some time to see where the work could be done. The work of obsession, as carried on by you, should have been done in every town and city. Every medium should be willing to do this line of work. The time will come when every minister will speak regarding the philosophy of life and spirit return, and all isms will be done away with. I cannot stay any longer, but I thank you very much for the privilege of coming, and shall come again sometime, I hope. A venerable family friend, Dr. J. M. Peebles, former consul of Turkey, world traveler, and for 60 years an international lecturer on psychic science, passed on at the age of 99 and had since spoken through Mrs. Wicklund upon various occasions, sometimes bringing earthbound spirits for enlightenment. Experience October 4th, 1922. Spirit Dr. J. M. Peebles. Psychic Mrs. Wicklund. Spirit, good evening, my friends. I thank you for opening the door so I could bring in the ones that are in misery and have them find understanding. I like to be here with you, and I like to help with your work. I like to help you with your work. Doctor, whoever you are very welcome. Spirit, you know who I am. You know. This is Dr. Peebles. I am young now. I was always young in spirit, but my body commenced to grow old and could not always do as I wished. I should very much have liked to live, to be 100 years old, but I could not. I had a most beautiful celebration on my 100th birthday in the spirit world among friends. I was very glad to go. When I reached the spirit world, I was glad to find such glory and happiness and beauty. I understood about the spirit world, but it could not be described. I cannot tell you how it is when we have understanding. Even though I had been a spiritualist for many, many years, still I clung to dogma as well. I was a spiritualist on one side, but I could not give up the dogma of the Christian religion. It was my hoodoo. I traveled around the world 5 times, saw many conditions of life, and heard many different lectures on the great truth. Let us not have beliefs. Let us only learn to understand the grandeur of God. Realize that this little earth is only a grammar school. It is not a university, not even a high school. It is only the first lesson of life. Many do not learn in that school. Doctor, who had been discussing reincarnation with a member of the circle, jestingly. They reincarnate again. Spirit, earnestly. No, they do not. Why should you want to come back again? Why should you go back to be confined to a small body and have no will of your own? In the spirit world, you are free to travel everywhere. You do not need a physical body. Why go back to that prison again? Why should a child ready to enter high school go back to the 6th, 7th, or 8th grade? Those of you who are here at the present time, when you have learned the primary lesson of life, would you like to go back into a small body and know nothing? When you travel, you learn. You can learn in one day here what it takes 10 or 12 years to learn on Earth. If you feel like seeing things, you travel. During my life, I studied reincarnation and also Mrs. Cora Richmond's re-embodiment. Questioner, what is re-embodiment? Doctor, it is a projection of self into the physical to acquire certain experiences. Spirit, she believed you had to have many experiences, that you had to be a murderer, a thief, a salesman, a tailor, that you must learn all the trades and professions. Why can't you learn these experiences through others? If you come in contact with a man, you do not need to be perfect to profit by his experience. You can learn by object lessons. We teach children by object lessons, and so it is through life. In the spirit world, if you wish to see a big factory making all sorts of machinery, you can, as a spirit, go there by thinking, and can learn all about it. If you want to learn what they are doing in other parts of the world, in Russia, Germany, England, India, Australia, think and you are there, and so learn your lessons. Should you then be born again? All you learn in life is only a day in spirit. I do not mean you grasp it all at once. You have nothing to hold on to. You have nothing to hold when you are free. Remember, a free spirit, free and open to learn. Doctor, for instance, here, when we want to know what happens in a book, we have to go through it. In the spirit world, I presume you sense the contents. Spirit, yes, you sense it by feeling. When you are in the body, you have to act through the brain. And it is difficult, but in the spirit world, you are free. You have no brain to interfere. Life is everlasting. Everything you have learned through life that belongs to the soul is stored in your memory. But so long as you live in the material body, the cells clog up. You lose your memory because the spirit cannot work in the brain cells as well in old age as in youth. The cells are not so active, and there are times when memory is shut out. But there are times when you feel like a drowning man. Everything stands before you, things which have been forgotten. As spirits, we have our memory, but when we come back and control mediums, sometimes even our names are forgotten. We get into another body, very much like obsession. Doctor, that must be a form of obsession. Spirit, no, it is not. When obsession takes place, the spirit clings to that body, and it is hard to let go. I would say that there is not one person on earth who is not obsessed in one way or another. You know, in olden times, when I was a young boy, life was very different from what it is now. We did not hurry, because there was nothing to hurry for. Now life is all hurry. People are living too rapid a life. If a man does not work fast, they say, quit him. If he does not do that and that, quit him. Nowadays, people have to be so keen that the nervous system fails and they lose themselves. Then the spirits step in. If you were a clairvoyant and walked down some busy street, you would be surprised to find how many persons have invisible company. Very few people, on entering the spirit side of life, even among the spiritualists who preach it, understand the condition of the higher life. Doctor, they usually care only for phenomena. They do not care for philosophy. Spirit, tonight I brought about 100 spirits here. At first I lectured to them and tried to waken them, but could not. Then I saw the English lady, spirit, who preceded them in controlling psychic, and from her actions I thought she would listen, but she would not. So she was allowed to control Mrs. Wicklund and served as an object lesson. The other spirits were watching her as they thought she acted so strangely. They were curious, so they roused themselves and woke up. Then I could talk. You may think that sometimes we bring in strange spirits, but it is to help many others, as well as to give the controlling spirit an understanding of spiritual things. Forget reincarnation, because it is a sandbag around your neck. You will have that so centered in your mind that you will think and think about only that, and then you will stay just where you are. You cannot progress because your mind will always revert to the earth again, and that gate which was opened for the English lady could never be opened to anyone who believed in reincarnation.